All right, question number 10. We got 6 parts. And it says your daily commute to work requires you cross railroad tracks. At this particular railroad crossing, trains tend to be long and slow. So getting stopped by a train will likely make you late for work. You start recording data to determine the likelihood of arriving at the tracks while a train is there. The data contain the day number and whether a train was present or not for 200 consecutive days in which you drove to work. In the data set, the column train shows series of zeros and 1. In that column, 0 indicates there was no train present and a 1 indicates there was a train present. The column aggregate train represents the cumulative number of times a train was present. Okay, so consider the first 10 days of data for this period. What proportion of days had a train present? So we look at the data here, and we want to know from days 1 through 10 how many days, or what's the proportion that had a train present. So 1 through 10. So 2, because this is a total. So we had a train on day 6, and so that's when the first one shows up, and it just continues to count that same 1 until another train pops up on day 9, and then they change it to a 2. So this is the total number. So no new train came, so there was only 2. So 2 out of 10 shows the aggregate proportion right here is 0.2. So you don't even have to do much work, just be able to read the data. So 0.2, 20%. The next part says consider the first 20 days for this time period, what proportion had a train present. So out of the first 20 days, so same thing, we got 5 out of 20. 5 divided by 20 give us a 0.25. Were you stopped by a train on the 30th day? So now we just go down to day 30 right here. There was no train on day 30. So we're going to say no. All right, D says consider all 200 days of data. For this period, what proportion of days had a train present? So we're going to look at all 200 days. I just minimized the data. Where did it go? So I open it up again. Okay. All 200. So 40, so 0.2 looks like. Oh, it's right here in the corner. So 0.2. E, graph the cumulative proportion of days a train was present. The cumulative proportion. So I don't know that we get a cumulative proportion. That this just shows the proportion. So I think we can use. Can I make this smaller? Okay, so I think we can use this. So if you follow these numbers, this is roughly what's going on. So we're wanting to take a graph and match it to the cumulative. Can I move this a little bit more? Okay. We're wanting to take a graph and graph it to these cumulative totals. So we start at 0, and then it goes up, and then it drops down a little bit. So we're 16, 14, 12, and then we jump up to 22. So we go up, we drop down, we go back up a little bit, and then from that 0.2 we're slowly dropping, and then we're hovering around that 0.2, 0.23, go up to 0.28, and so we're kind of just back and forth, up and down, up and down. We go up, down, so it's not like a big steep increase. So based on these, it looks like either A or D. Hard to tell like the big difference between those. This one goes up to a height of, looks like a little bit over 30, and this one is just under 30. So I guess that's going to be the big difference there. Looking at the maximums. And then these just kind of hover down around 19.2. I thought I saw a 30. About 20% of the time, roughly. What was the high point? So we got 20. We got a 28, we got a 29, we got a 30. So looks like 30 may be the highest. So D looks to be the best, roughly, having a high of 30. So I'm going to go with D. I don't like it. So A, again, is going to be my next best. I didn't see anything go over 30. Could probably copy that in Excel and sort it. Give me a better look. What is the estimate? What is the estimate of the probability of being stuck by a train during your commute? So the estimate would be just roughly the average out of all 200. So I would just say that the estimate that we will be stopped by a train, it says round to 4 decimal places. So estimate the probability. Looks like just 0.2. I'm not sure why they say 4 decimal places. I'll just do the 40 divided by 200. All right, so that'll be it for number 10.